Hello everyone! Today I am showing you my new projects based on natural materials that I have collected in a park. For the first project I have collected these branches of a European larch tree. When they dry, they have no needles anymore, but pine cones are staying, and I thought it would look very nice as a fall or winter bouquet. To make it look like it's snowing, I just dry brushed the pine cones and branches with acrylic paint. It's a bit hard to call it dry brushing because I actually was taking a lot of paint, but touched the surface just slightly, so branches are not painted completely, but in places that look out a bit more, it looks like a big bunch of snow settled there, just like it would look in a real snowy forest. While painting, I was following the best advice of Bob Ross: just let your imagination flow. I imagined being there and seeing the snow falling to understand in which direction to brush. From top to the bottom, of course. So much paint, light touch, move from top to the bottom, and you will do great. To make my bouquet a bit more festive, I decided to add one more type of branches. For this I picked some shells from seeds of the beech tree and filled them up with shiny orbs from AliExpress. I could have cut a wire and fixed these orbs with a hot glue, but these shells don't really look reliable, so I used the wire to add a skeleton to it. When the flowers are done, I just hot glued them back to the branches of the beech tree, combined my two types of branches into one composition, and have got such a nice piece almost for free. As a filler for the vase, I used some chestnuts, walnuts, acorns and pine cones. For the second project I used two old glasses and different branches which I also brought from the park. I broke branches into pieces that are a bit longer than the glass and glued them one by one to the glass with transparent and strong glue, so it will not be that visible after drying. I have two different options how to use this piece. One is using it just as a candle holder for Halloween, and that's why I'm not using hot glue, and the second one as a vase. I decorated the vase with a lace ribbon without using glue, just in case if I want to reuse it, and filled it up with branches and pine cones that I made in the beginning of this video, and some greenery I bought on AliExpress. Just the lace alone looked a bit poor to me, so I also added a bow out of a jute band. The result exceeded my expectation. It looked so cute that I don't even believe that I made it. For the third project I used the long pine cones of a spruce tree. I'm going to turn them into ornaments for a garland, so the first thing I do is gluing a loop out of jute to the top of the pine cone with hot glue. At this point I decided that it would be nice to increase the saturation of my pine cones a bit, so I made a very liquid mix of brown acrylics and washed my pine cones using a flat brush. After drying, pine cones look cleaner and more colorful, but you can't tell that they were painted. I also added some snow to them using white acrylics. While brushing these pine cones, I realized that you can control the result by switching direction of brushing. For example, brushing from top to the bottom makes a thicker layer of paint than brushing from the bottom to the top. Or, if you touch the pine cone with the side of a brush, only tips of shells will be painted. I like the last pretty much more than others, but for me it doesn't matter because I'm going to add some ice by applying some hot glue and silver glitter. The ornaments will look good with and without ice, it's just a matter of taste and free time you have. I made both kinds, so you have more options to choose from. So this way I painted 5 pine cones in total, and now I want to decorate 3 of them with some greenery and berries, and 2 of them just with a ribbon to balance the composition. And here is the end result. I also had a little bird in my stash, and now it's sitting here as well. With each new craft I feel like I'm turning more and more into Bob Ross. After painting pine cones, I had some liquid acrylic paint left, so I used it for painting walnuts, to give them some additional depth. And when it's dry, I dry brushed the nuts with a copper paint. This will become Christmas tree ornaments. I made some loops for hanging out of jute and balls out of satin ribbons I bought in IKEA. I glued hangers to the nuts with hot glue. By the way, check this out. These 2 nuts were just dry brushed with copper, and these 2 were washed with brown and then dry brushed with copper. How do you think? Was it worth it? After gluing balls, I also added some jingle bells to them. I stitched them to the top of the balls, so bells can hang freely and ring. Instead of bells, you can use any charms, beans, old jewelry, whatever you have at home, or keep it simple and leave it just how it is. Cha-chan! So beautiful! Can't wait to decorate my tree in December, it makes me feel so excited. And finally, the last DIY for today, it's a Christmas wreath. The base for the wreath I made out of grape branches that I twisted in a circle, but it would also be available in stores. I started decorating it with pine cones that I also washed with tinned up acrylic paint, just like before in this video. I didn't get the perfect order for the pine cones, so I had to remove some of them and glue them again until I nailed it. And again, I prepared some plastic greenery and glued them piece by piece, first in between the pine cones, then to the bottom of the wreath to give it more volume, and at last under the tips of pine cones. The curls of grapes I decided to keep, I just had to rearrange them to look more orderly. Afterwards I glued some red berries to add some color, and I filled up the empty spaces with some little pine cones. I also used a string of lights from IKEA, which works from batteries and have a 6-hour timer inside. One 3-meter long string was enough to wrap my wreath twice. Just at first round I wrapped it between each pine cone, and for the second round I had to wrap just each second one. Then I fixed one rope to the top of the wreath for hanging it, and one jute ribbon to the bottom for hanging a big bow where I want to hide the box with batteries. I wanted to have free access to the batteries, so I made a case for the box out of a big elastic band. I glued the case to the hanger and then decorated it with a giant bow to hide the plastic box. I made a mistake with gluing the hanger just to the back of the box, so when I tried to hang the wreath, bow was flipping to the front. To fix it, I had to cut one tail of the band and glue it to the front of the box. Now everything works. What crafting materials are you collecting in forest? Tell me in the comments down below. And if this video was inspiring for you, please subscribe to this channel to see more inspiring videos. Hit the bell button to stay up to date when new stuff is coming out. Let your imagination flow and stay creative!